There's not really any problems I'm trying to correct. This horse did have a case of laminitis last spring, which these back hooves are mostly rehabbed from. He did have a little bit of thrush in the winter, so I'm just going to kind of clean up this frog and make sure there's none of that hanging around in these little cracks or crevices, and I'll treat that if I need to. But this is basically a pretty basic maintenance trim where I'm going to balance out the hoof wall and redo the Mustang roll. Just cleaning up this central sulcus a little bit here with my bonsai nippers. There's nothing in there. So that's all I'm going to do to the frog, especially when the ground is hard like it is right now. I want to leave as much of it as possible because that frog is used for shock absorption and it's going to help bear the weight of the horse, and we want there to be ground contact with the frog. So we want to leave as much of it as possible, especially in these summer months when the ground is extra hard. Since there's not a lot of hoof wall height to take down, I'm just going to use my rasp, and my rasp is getting a little bit dull. I should have gotten a new one, but I didn't. So I want to just keep checking my balance. I don't need to bring the height down too much more than this. It's almost to sole level. I want to leave him a little bit extra just for protection. I don't want to take it all the way down to the sole plane. There's a little trick. If your stand is being wobbly, use your feet to you can use your feet to balance your stand. All right, the hoof looks balanced. Now I'm just gonna bring this hoof wall in and redo my Mustang roll. So I'm gonna do this roughly with my nippers at first. That first cut is really hard. I'm just gonna move my nippers over a little bit of the way, so I'm not doing a full nipper. Just move it over a little bit. I'm at about a 45-degree angle, so I'm roughly doing the angle of what I want my bevel to be. I'm gonna get a little less steep as I come around the quarters with that angle. I don't need to do it back to the heel. Now coming this way, my bevel is gonna be most steep at the toe. Just following the hoof wall here, a little bit less steep here. Now what I'm going to do is just smooth everything out with my rasp. It looks like here he popped a little bit of sole, and here he might pop out this toe callus soon, but I'm not going to force that at all, especially with how hard the ground is. I'm just going to leave it. It will pop out when it's ready. So I will do a little bevel on the heels, but it was not a steep enough or strong enough bevel that I wanted to do it with my nippers. So just going over that roughly. Smooth it all out so I can't see the rough cuts of my nipper. I brought the toe right back into the water line here. That's that white line there. The white line anatomically of the hoof is actually cream colored, and it's right there behind the water line. So I'm gonna leave his bars because they go about halfway down the frog. There is a little bit material here that I could get, but because it's not like super overgrown and we're not having any issues of contracted heels here, I'm gonna leave it. The hooves are so hard. It's just gonna be extra support. No more needs to be trimmed than that. And I didn't even really have to do that. Now bringing the foot forward on the stand, I'm just gonna use the smooth side of my rasp, and I'm just gonna smooth everything out that I did underneath even more and from up top. So I'm not taking a lot of hoof material off right now. I'm just smoothing it all out. This back foot is very similar. I'm just gonna loosely clean up the collateral grooves. Actually gonna use my bonsai nippers for this. They're smaller and they're easier to fit in tight places like this. Oh. Just want to clean out this little corner. I don't want to do much more than that. This central sulcus looks like there's a little flap right here. I want to make sure there's nothing, any black gooiness under here, because that can happen. You can have a hoof that looks like this and underneath it's just all black gunk. That's not the case here though, so I'm going to leave all that frogs. It's great protection for the summer. And again, I'm going to start just by lightly rasping the whole hoof wall, balancing it out. This is going to have the tubules growing straight, so the tubules are the way the hoof wall grows down. They grow down in tubules, and what I'm doing by rasping just a few strokes, not really taking height off, I'm basically cutting off the tips. So if they've been walking on the ground, they can start to curve and it can start to like cause the heels to fold under if they're not kind of freshened up like this. Checking the balance. I'm gonna take a little bit more off this heel. All right. Now I'm just gonna rough do my bevel. I'm gonna start here and just work my way around, coming right into that water line there. Steeper at the toe. Just following my own nipper line. I don't need to do any more with the nippers. Oh. I can get these heels and the backs of my quarters with my rasp just fine because there's not much that needs to be done. I'm holding the rasp right at an angle, for about 45-degree angle along the hoof to make that Mustang roll. smooth out this toe. I'm bringing that toe. When I run the rasp pretty much straight, the hoof is like this, the rasp is like this. I'm taking off toe length right now. I'm bringing that toe back from underneath. So you can bring the toe back when the foot is forward on the stand, or you can do it from underneath like this. Just whichever you prefer. Now I'm going to pull the foot forward. Come here. So I'm just using the smooth side here. The finishing touches.